Hi, I'm Crystal Hornback. Today is October 21st, and I am sitting here with my grandpa, Joe Ginger, and today we're going to talk about experimental barge on TAD. While on shore duty, did you ever get special assignments?
Yeah, one time I got a TAD, which stands for Temporary Assigned Duty, which that they chose me to go on this experimental barge and spend a few weeks on that, on the activities that we have on the barge.
What is an experimental barge, and what does it do?
Okay, I believe it was on the Potomac River, and which leads out to the ocean. Now, I may be incorrect, but if memory serves me correct, I do know this, is that on this barge that we could look from as far as we could and not see any land. So we were, it's, they want to call it a river. It's a pretty good sized river. What the deal was on this barge, now there was two barges. There was a main barge and then a sleeping barge. Okay, now we were assigned to the main barge, and we did what we did, the work and all this kind of stuff on it, and then we had another barge that basically for sleeping. Now we did have to kind of, make sure it was cleaned up and all that kind of stuff, but basically the work that we did was on the main barge. And so okay, now the purpose of it is that this barge was a supply barge for the destroyer. Number 474, I think is USS Pullum, if I recall right. But what the whole idea is that we had the people on this barge, and then they carried out this operation of setting off explosions next to this destroyer.
What was your job during this?
Well, my main job probably was picking up fish later. I mean, I'll talk about that later. But we did certain routine stuff, and really, actually, as far as work we on this barge was assigned to, we had it made. We really didn't have to work a whole lot. I will say this though, that the captain, Ben's that on this barge here, we see the captain all the time, and he told us right off the bat when we first come in there, he says, "Do not salute me." He said, "I'm not going to salute you back, and do not salute me." See, now what ordinarily on a ship is that you don't see the captain very often. And if he comes down walking through, everybody has to salute him. He has to salute everybody. But in this tight quarters, you might say, he didn't want to spend all day long saluting somebody. And so he just told us outright. Now that didn't mean that we couldn't, that we stopped calling him sir, and that we talk to him, we say sir and that kind of stuff and show him respect, but he just didn't want to fool with the saluting routine.
What was the reason for the destroyer and the barge?
Okay, the destroyer had on it this top secret radar, top secret missiles, and all this top secret stuff that they had just come up with. And what the function of this operation is that they had these blasts that went off next to this destroyer. This, I'll just say 10,000 pounds of TNT. They were different loads, I think. I'm sure of how, we was never told, but I could tell one explosion was bigger than another explosion sometimes. We had explosion every 2 or 3 days, it seemed like, where they set that off, and the purpose of it is to shake up that destroyer so that they find out what it can take and what it can't take, what it bangs around and so forth, is that if they need to reinforce it and this kind of stuff. So that's what the thing was. Now, the only people that was on that destroyer for this kind of, on the destroyer itself, after they had the explosion and stuff, to examine it was top secret people. Now, I was not no top secret person at all. I didn't know nothing. And then, of course, I never really had a chance, nor did I want to talk to these people that was in charge of that. Okay.
How long were you out there on this assignment? Do you remember?
Well, it was several weeks. I'd say 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. But like I say, it was interesting. Like I say, we slept on other barge. We did have to clean it up and that kind of stuff. But like I say, we pretty well had it made.
Did you have any duties on the sleeping barge besides keeping it clean?
Yeah. Now, naturally, somebody had to keep watch. I mean, that's what happens in the Navy, is that somebody's always got to be awake wherever you're at. So it just so happened that we had the sleeping barge, and I had to watch her, I think, I don't know, 8 to 12 or whatever it was. It was dark, and well, they set me up, which I thought was pretty good. I mean, actually, I'm pretty hard to get because I don't volunteer, and person with pull a prank, I'm the last one to say I want to be the person, and I mean, I'm always suspicious and that kind of stuff. Anyway, that they told me that whatever I do, keep a sharp eye on it because this sleeping barge may pull anchor and just drift right out to sea, and then you are in serious trouble. Well, there's a reason for telling me that. But anyway, I was on duty there a couple hours or whatever it was, and it might have been a little bit longer than that. But anyway, okay. I mean, I forgot to tell this part too about radio transmissions. We were Philcorn 1-1. Okay, and barge was Philcorn 1, and every hour on the hour you had to come. Philcorn 1, this is Philcorn 1-1, over. You had to do all that stuff, because then, well, then they wanted to make sure that our communications was there and nothing went wrong or this type of stuff, So anyway, but they called me up and says, Philcorn 1-1, this is Philcorn 1. He says, I cannot see you. Where are you at? What's going on? And so anyway, that, I said, oh no, we drifted. So he said, go outside the door and see if you can see us. Okay, well anyway, they had me. So actually, here was a barge and here was a sleeping barge. Okay, when, I come up there and, the door, I went in this door here and I could see the barge, Okay, what happened is that that had the anchor down there and the current would cause that to come around this way. So the door that I went in, I would go out and look for the barge, but just opposite, you see. So he knew if he told me to go out, I'd look out, I couldn't see nothing, I couldn't see the barge. Well, the barge all lit up, they had lights on. And I think, oh no, I've had it, So I goes out there and, oh, it's gone, I can't see the barge. Well, so I went back in there and I get on the radio hollering at them and stuff, and they toyed with me for a while, Hey, I'm sorry, but boy, I tell you what, you're supposed to keep an eye on that, and you've obviously, the anchor pulled up and you're drifted out, and all this stuff. That gave it all to me, and then they finally, eventually, they got to say something. They say, hey, I tell you what, go look out the other door. Go do it now. So I goes out the other door. As soon as I opened the door, seen that barge out there, I knew, oh, they got me. Did they ever get me? I mean, they got me good, I never once thought about that, switching around like it's here. Of course, then, your door that was over here is now over here, looking at nowhere. But, well, they had their fun. And I took it with fun. I mean, and then they told me, be sure to come back radio, I want to talk to you about it. Well, they want me doing radio, so I had to rub it in some more, see. But anyway, I did, and, I took it, for a fun joke, but they did kind of rattle my cage there for a little bit.
What did you do to prepare for an explosion next to the destroyer?
Well, actually, we had several things we did, but then actually, when it come up to probably really the last half hour, but you said we was free of doing anything, except for hanging out. our job was done, because they didn't want us to do functions while this explosion went on, because I'll explain in a minute why. So anyway, that at 10 minutes till, you had this one big old noise of a siren, like or whatever, one bit of that. And then they would say, on the speaker, they would say, 10 minutes to H hour. So then, everybody knew, to be alert of what you're doing, And of course, we was all on the big barge, because the small barge, this blast is so big and so bad that that the impact on the smaller barge, would really probably hurt you if you was on that thing. But anyway, so and then they go 5 minutes, Well then, everybody is always watching stuff. Now, I had a camera, which I took some pictures. Okay, and then they would have a 10-second countdown. 10, 9. Well, you had to brace yourself one way or another. If you was hanging on a bar, you would have to have every joint bent. If you had something locked, it would probably break your, say like you had your knee locked, would probably break your knee. And your elbow would break your elbow. So anyway, you had to be like this here, all bent over or something, or that there was times there that I back my, if I want to take a picture, that I back my body up and shove real hard against the bulkhead, which is the wall, a ship, the barge, or whatever. I pushed real hard that way. When I got the impact, I wouldn't get this thing, see, so bad. Now, if you're here, it's gonna bounce you off of that thing, and man, you've had it. But I, after I seen a few explosions, I want to take some pictures. Now I just took the gamble. But anyway, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kaboom. And I mean to say, you have maybe a second and a half before the impact hits you. And I mean to say that when that blast, of course, the ship, it takes this destroyer. I'll tell you about that first. Anyway, destroyer, and it actually blew a hole in it like most of the time. But the destroyer had what's called watertight integrity, and which means that they have compartments that you could seal off. So when that could seal it off, so if you blew a hole into this one area, this area filled with water, but the whole ship wouldn't sink. That's called watertight integrity. And so, but anyway, on the ship, we would sit there, after the blast, we would after the blast and stuff, we could relax and watch that, and the destroyer. Man, it rocket right up here. Now, it moved slow, but it rocket up. And then it would seem to stay there for a long time. And then it would start coming back up. And everybody hooping, hollering, and carrying on, that. One time, it went like this. It was almost flat like it's here. We was all, it got real quiet because everybody's, because the thing, that's going down, But it laid there quite a while, then it come back up, everybody hooping and hollering, because, but anyway, but on the barge, I say that impact, if you aren't braced properly, you're going to get hurt. It's going to break your bones, everything, because, the whole thing just, I'm sure that barge probably jumped, I don't know, a long ways, that great big thing, because that impact there, and, so, one time though, I didn't have a tight enough grip. I thought I did. And, man, that pulled me loose and it just rode me right down the walkway, you might say, or not walkway, but right down the deck. And, but then too, like I say, there was a time where I got up against the bulkhead, take them pictures, and like I say, you have a second hand. Click that picture, then grab on or something, if you're quick enough. But anyway, I took some pictures of that, and then what happened is that, you have like a tsunami. When you have that blast, boy, all of a sudden, you got all this stuff here, and that water, that big old wave of water comes, everything else. And during this time here, you ain't working. I mean, you're just, hanging on and watch what you're doing and stuff like that until, to get all that impact going. Now, if you was on a small barge, it's smaller and lighter. That impact, boy, I mean, it would just, if you stand there or something, it just knock you clean off your feet. I mean, it would just do you in a somersault. But, so, anyway, that's what they're, and then now they had these guys that the second that this tsunami type thing happened, and got past us, well then as soon as the water settled down where they could, they jumped in a boat, the welders and stuff, and then they would zoom over to that destroyer and they would do their thing. I never did any welding or stuff like it there, but they went over there and patched up that big hole, then they'd drain out the water in it, and that they did their job. So that was pretty neat.
Can you tell me about the fish?
Well, I tell you what, when this explosion goes off, it's so massive that there's thousands of fish on the water. And usually, now it was either called, I was told it's either L-wife or L-wise or, this fish, and it's all about, I don't know, about that. I mean, just about all of them, but of that type of fish. Now, there were some other big fish, I mean, I took a picture of me holding one big one, I don't know, like a dare or something, and the picture was blurry, but anyway, I was holding that, and then we had some other big fish that was in the water. Okay, really, the main reason why we were there is for this thing coming up right now, is that after all the water settled down enough where we could do it, and there's thousands of these fish all over the place, dead on top of the water. Because really, and they told us too, if you're in that water when that explosion goes, it's going to bust your lungs. I mean, you're gone, So you have to keep all that stuff in mind. But we had this bucket. I don't know, a great big old bucket, it stands about like a good-sized garbage can. And on the barge, they had on one side, had a ladder, you climbed straight up and down, and the other side they had a thing that, like steps, on this thing here, they could drop it down and you can, walk up these steps. It's pretty steep, but you can do it, there's steps. But anyway, we would take this garbage can, I'll call it, down there into the boat, and then net. And then, there's about 6 of us doing this, and what was out there, we'd be doing, we'd scooping up these fish right off top of the water, and sticking in this garbage can. And, when you're first doing it, it's pretty fun. But after a while, I mean, it gets work. I mean, when you're pulling out enough, those fish, I mean, well, you just have a net just to go like a there, and you got a net full of fish, and you're going like that. Well, then, and then you get the garbage can, and then you climbed up with it, you and your buddy, climbed up on the barge, and that's what I learned too. We filled it up too high, too full, first time we did it. It about killed us. I mean, you're talking about heavy, trying to climb up the steps with that big old garbage can, me and the other guy. Oh man, and then we take it up there and set it down by the altar. Now, this other guy, he would take these fish out and throw in the altar, which is, just chews them up, just chews them all up and then spits them out in the ocean. And, I thought, I won't describe to you what it looked like when it's coming out the other end of that altar in the water, man. I mean, it's a terrible thing. But after that, we didn't fill up the garbage cans full because, like I say, man, that was a real chore carrying them up there. But we had to do that for hours. I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. And, after a while, that gets to pretty good work, and you're scooping there, and of course when you finally get big, when you pull out, one of them will fill that net up, and boy, and we're all, tickled to death about that, I don't know, it just was, it would work, but it was kind of fun too. And the reason was that, I'll get this first here, is that, after a certain amount of time, that the current would take them on way past where we could do anything with them. That's why we had to get out there immediately and scoop them up I mean, that we had to scuba as fast as we could, work hard as we could for that 2 or 3 hours. And then, like I say, we get back aboard, well, then we pretty well had it made again. But one reason is that if you don't do this, all these dead fish are going on the shoreline. It'll go right to the shoreline and stink. I mean, it would be a massive problem. I mean, that's something they worked out to do that. So, but anyway, that's the part of the fish.
Did you ever get hurt on the barge?
Well, I never got seriously hurt, but one thing, I don't know what the right word is, ticked me off or something. But anyway, on one side there, I had something I had to carry down on this ladder that you go straight down, and that barges up there pretty good. And there's a boat at the bottom down here. Well, I gets on there, and then, I don't know if this was a prank or what it was. But they started pounding stuff. I mean, I was right there, and I had my own stuff, and they started pounding stuff in my arms right here. Well, take this down when you go on. Take this down. And really, like this here, I had stuff packed up that far. They could have threw it to the guy standing down the boat. But no, they did that. They did that. And, instead of being like this here, where you're better off, it's back like this. And I'm trying to go down, and I reach for the next rung. I missed it. I mean to say, anyone's ever done this knows that there's momentarily that you're in no man's land. I mean, you missed a rung, and yet you're about like this, and oh no, very soon you're going to go like that. Well, I hollered, "Here I come!" Well, there's a couple guys in the boat, and I come tumbling down. They pretty well caught me. Well, we all end up on the ground. We was beat up, but it wasn't hurt. There wasn't no broken bones or nothing. But I thought that was, well, my comments at the time was even worse where they are now. I'm thinking, how ignorant can you get? But, you don't mouth off, I have before, but if you can keep from mouthing off, you're a whole lot better off. So I just mumbled to these other guys. I didn't say anything to them at the top, But, no, I really didn't get hurt, like I said, you could have if you had your joints stiff or, a whole bunch of things that could have went wrong, but never.
Did anything else exciting happen?
Well, I tell you what, yeah, there was. That, now this here sounds like a Hollywood movie or something, but it actually happened. And I was standing up there by the radio thing, and we was going to have a blast come, to set off. And I was told, after you get 10 minutes or so, is that blast goes off regardless. Something happens. Now, I don't know. I'm not into the technical stuff of it and that stuff. I just told this. But after a certain point, is that blast is going to go off, regardless. And so anyway, I was up there watching, and we see a jet up here coming down, and he's going to buzz us, And the explosion was going to go off in just a few minutes. He comes down like this here, and I couldn't reach or nothing, but he was close enough that that impact shook your whole body, and everything else. He's that close. He come down there, and he comes like this here. Well, the captain, man, right then and there, he told the radio man, he said, "Call Mayday! Call Mayday! Get him!" Well, I gotta be careful I don't repeat what he said. Get him out of here, And so the old guy on the radio. Now this is so exciting, really, that I still feel the excitement when I talk about it. He's Mayday, Mayday, marine operator, and then when you holler Mayday, you get first priority. You understand? They all of a sudden, what's up, and so anyway, that I don't know. I forget now. Whether he said the longitude, latitude, and all that stuff. I forget. But anyway, that he was saying there that this jet had buzzed us and get him out of here. Well, anyway, this jet. he was curving around. Everybody, oh, he's coming back! And well, we've seen enough explosions that, man, you know, if he was over that when that went off, I mean, the shock would probably, the shock at him would probably wreck the airplane. Plus, the impact, it would probably do something to him, I suppose. I mean, but anyway, he was circling around. Boy, there's a hollering that, that he's getting on that Marine operator to get him out of here. But anyway, he comes around like this here, and he comes back around. It was a big wide turn. I mean, it wasn't no sharp turn. Big wide turn. So he took there, and boy, it was going to be close. I mean, when that explosion went off, if he was right there again. But anyway, boy, they were still jabbing on that radio. I mean, I was right there. I mean, it was so exciting. I mean, oh no, that sucker he's going to come back and he's going to get caught. But he comes up here, and all of a sudden he must have got the signal. And boy, he turned that old airplane about fast it can go like a tear. And he shot that straight up in the air. And I mean to say, we was all laughing our head off. And we didn't want to see somebody get killed. But anyway, he started heading up. We knew, he got the message. And he went. I mean, he went out of sight. I mean, totally. We stand there and watch him, and boom, that explosion went off. And of course, too, when it starts down on the 10-second countdown, I mean, you're grabbing on something, you're hanging on. So, but anyway, that was probably one of the more exciting things of that nature, that I've seen in the service.
What did you do after your job was over?
Well, after we're done with that, that we went back to special services on the base on shore duty, and then took off on that. I mean, I continued that work, and really, I really thought that was a great thing to go on that barge and experience that and have that fun. And like I say, it wasn't hard work. That we didn't have to do much, except when we scooping the fish out of the water. So it was, it was just fun time. I mean, it was just like a tour, like a vacation, you might say, compared to everything else. But I went back to the Corn Sports Center, and just started up what we was doing before. And but anyway, that was a good time, and I really enjoyed it, to tell you the truth.